How you doing, YouTube? Matt Massive Beer Reviews back with some fucking barley wine up in this piece. Barrel-aged barley wine, son. In the form of Fox Farm Brewing. It's their Copestone. This is a port wine barrel-aged barley wine that was also aged in bourbon. It says aged in bourbon, not bourbon barrels. It says aged in bourbon and port wine barrels. I assume they didn't age it in actual bourbon. They aged it in a bourbon barrel. I decided to read it weird because I'm weird. So there you go. This bottle comes courtesy of my man, Max. He hand-delivered a beer mail the Sunday before Xmas, and it was full of a bunch of Fox Farm deliciousness, a whole bunch of mystery beers, and I am 9 minutes before I'm about to go live on the old YouTubes for my Festivus special. So I figured nice to have a nice sipper along for the special, so I figured I'd review this real quick. See what's what. Here we go. So yeah, that's pouring out exactly what I want barley wine to look like. Oh yeah, buddy. Look at that. Doo-doo water brown. Murkiness to it. We're off to a good start. As far as the label goes, I mean, it's got that nice linen label. That nice kind of reflective metallic embossing. It's a shovel. Deep in the ground. Which is barley wine is going to put me one day. And that's pretty much it. Batch 2019, batch 2. 13.5% alcohol by volume. Done and done. Awesome label. Beautiful wax. We're off to a very good start here. And as far as that looks, I mean, it's so dark you'd almost mistake that for a stout. I mean, there's glistening ruby kind of mahogany tones kind of floating around there. But on camera, you probably just see darkness. And murky barley wine. Let's get a nose. Okay. I get the port wine a lot. I get a little bit of spirit in there, nothing too crazy, but it elevates the port wine. It actually reminds me more of an apple brandy barrel more than port wine, but I can get where the port is coming from. I get that kind of grape wininess, but it just leans a little bit in that apple direction, that apple brandy, which is one of my favorite barrels, so I'm not complaining here. I mean, it's rich. It's sweet. It's not aged. It's not getting to like raisinette-y, raisinette-y date figgy area. It's a little bit more kind of a sugary sweet, a little bit kind of caramel molasses, kind of new, refined, non-aged kind of sweetness in beer. But then you have that little bit of rich kind of port wine marrying with that bourbon, so it adds a little bit of kind of age character to it, even though it's not aged all that much by itself. Yeah, it's candy. It's bourbon candy. It's bourbon, port barrel, apple brandy candy. That doesn't suck. Let's dive in. Cheers. Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy boy. Good God. That's delicious. That is absolutely 1,000% delicious. I mean, that is... It's a dessert beer. I mean, barley wines are sweet. Yeah, fucking news flash. Barley wines are sweet. And this is very sweet. And it's very much like an adult kind of dessert. It's very much tiramisu. It's very much creme brulee. It's very much that adult kind of desserty direction. But it has so many different things coming in, so many different angles from so many different layers and depths and stuff like that. You're getting the base barley wine, which is nice and rich and big and bold, and it's caramel sauce. It is eking towards that date and figginess. It hasn't gotten there yet, but it wants to get there. That bourbon adding this rich red cherry note. It comes off very much like a maraschino cherry, but a maraschino liqueur candy kind of component. There's a nice coconut. There's a nice marshmallowy vibe. I assume that's coming from the barrel char and the bourbon. But then you get this little bit of the port wine comes into play. That's where that kind of apple brandy thing comes in, and it still kind of rings true to me. And the nose, it was more apple brandy, and the taste, it's a little bit more kind of plummy for me. I mean, it kind of makes sense. You're talking about, not apple brandy, but port wine. I can get a lot of those flavors dependent on the kind of port wine barrel or port wine in general. So it's kind of hitting all the kind of different fruit marks from the fruit you get in a natural barley wine, like a kind of a little bit of a raspberry kind of cherry note, where you get the additional kind of multi-layered kind of cherry note that you would get from bourbon, and you get that kind of fruity, kind of grapey, for me more in this kind of like a pear kind of vibe. Pear, pear, losing my train of thought, it's that delicious. Apple brandy pear kind of thing going on there, where it's kind of working a different direction. It's not necessarily sour, but it's kind of more of a green fruit than anything else. I think that's a little bit of acidity and a little bit of tannicness that you get from wine in general. And those barrels are imparting a little bit of dryness, a little bit of oakiness, a nice rich oak tannin that isn't dry, in combination with a super cool barrel char that shows that coconut and that marshmallow I talked about previously. That's what I said. There's so many things coming out of this beer. I took like 5 sips and I can't stop shutting my mouth up. Yeah. That's delicious. That's absolutely world-class barley wine. Maybe a little bit sweet, if I was going to nitpick anything about it. But, too sweet of a barrel-aged barley wine, what do you expect? That's where age comes in. Again, multiple things going on here. You have barley wine, you have 2 different barrels. I don't think this is... you can get lucky, and it could age really well, but in the grand scheme of things, I don't think this is a long-haul ager. But... if you gave this a year or so, I think that sweetness would round out. I think you get a little bit of savory, a little umami flavors kind of bring you up. Touch of soy sauce, I think, would do this good. Bounce off some of that sweetness and turn it into even a better beer than it is now, which is probably one of the better barley wines I've had as of late. So let's cut to that chase. Is it one of the better barley wines? Yes. This is eating up there towards King Shit-a-Fuck Mountain, Mount Rushmore status. It's probably in there. Well, you'd have to duke it out, man. There's been so many good barley wines this year. It's very hard to choose. Value and availability, no idea. Max, let us know what's what down below, or anybody else that frequents Fox Farm. See what the barley wine does to you. And leave you guys with, if you like, what will you like this beer? If you like barley wine. Aged barley wine, barrel-aged barley wine, if you like barley wine. And if you really do like barley wine, you'll like this. Because guess what? It's barley wine, and it's barrel-aged, and it's fucking delicious. If you like dessert stouts and pastry stouts, I think this would be right up your alley too. But it has that kind of malty, rich sweetness you don't really get with stouts, but in just a cool fucking way. It's a really good beer. So there you go. A little bit of a barley wine in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Down there if you want to talk about it. Massive Beers if you want to check me out doing the social media stuff. Beer Massive. Want to check me out doing the podcasting thing. And hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully you're enjoying a nice little barley wine right now. And hope to see you next time. Cheers.